comments coming.
Call 0800 587 1046.
BBC Radio Surrey.
It is that time of the day and the week again where we introduce you to some super savvy savings advice.
Helping to make a difference to your bank balance. Super Savvy Savings.
Well, let's talk mortgages. So the Bank of England's raised interest rates are up from 4.4 to 4.25%. And let's talk to mortgage mum Sally Mitchell, who joins me on the programme. Sally, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
You're busier than ever before, I would imagine, with some wise advice as people are trying to work out exactly what to do. And I have to say, I'm one of those many, many people whose my mortgage deal comes to an end at the end of June. And I am at the moment on a rate of 1.2%. And it's people like me that are going to get a real shock to the system.
Yes, you are. I mean, honestly, it's almost like being a counsellor at the moment. And it has been ever since the mini budget caused such an upset in the market. We spend a lot of time talking people back from the edge, the cliff. I think this should be called Super Sally savings, by the way, not Super Sally. That's what I hear. So yes, you will find it very different in June.
And I suppose there's lots of variations as well. A lot of people really stretch themselves, got big mortgages in order to get onto the housing ladder. And I think this particularly affects us here in the southeast, where house prices are so high.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I mean, it's a hot spot, and although house prices across the country have gone down, we have seen a dip. There are some areas, particularly the southeast, where they're just not affected. So you're still having to pay more than the average for your properties.
All right, it's coming at us from all angles. Everything's going up. The cost of heating our homes, the cost of food. We could do without the cost of mortgages going up as well. But what do we do then? You're obviously this is the main theme at the moment. Is that people trying to work out what they should do. Do we tie into another deal now? If your deal's coming to an end, are things going to go up further? Well, where's this going to end?
Yeah, we don't have a crystal ball, unfortunately. The first thing I would say is that you will be immediately affected if you're one of the people who are on a tracker or variable rate mortgage. So the best thing to do, if that is you, if you possibly can, is to look at fixing, because the fixed rates are lower. Now, interestingly, fixed rate mortgages, which is probably 80% of the mortgages that we have in this country, they are more affected by something called swap rates. So I'm going to get a little bit technical here, but bear with. They affect the rates that they fix the mortgages at, and they are actually falling. So although we've seen 11 base rate increases in the last 18 months, and that has hit us on all sorts of fronts quite hard, the fixed rate mortgages since November have been coming down. So we were looking after the mini budget at products of 6.5%, and now we're looking at more like 4.5%. So it is getting better. Now, obviously, compared to the rate you're on, that you're looking to change in June, it's still a big jump up, but it's not as bad as it was. But I want people to take some sort of comfort from that.
Well, they were ridiculoly low, though, weren't they, at one point? I suppose it's now just adjusting to the kind of level that we were more used to.
Yeah, I mean, we've had sensationally low rates for a long time, and the really low ones, around 1%, we're starting to refer to them as COVID rates because they were quite unusual. If we look at the history over the last 20, 30 years, we have seen some amazing highs and some amazing lows in the rates. And if you look at the term of your mortgage over, let's say, 25 years, it does tend to even out. But again, that's little comfort for people who are looking at paying £300 more on their mortgage per month, plus energy, plus their shopping basket, they're costing an awful lot more. It's a tough time, and people really have to try and save as much money wherever they can. It's tough.
And everybody, it's such a unique situation. Some people would maybe rather have the stability of a 5-year fix and know exactly what they're paying. Others might be thinking, well, they might come down again, and then do I want to be tied in?
Yeah, exactly. And that's always a dichotomy when you've got these higher rates. People don't want to be left thinking, oh, if only I hadn't fixed, for so long. Everyone else seems to be enjoying lower rates. and I'm stuck. I mean, it is worth pointing out that whatever you choose to do, it's a contract. You are tied to it, but there are exit strategies. I would always advise trying to get the decision right in the first place to suit your individual circumstances and plans. But there is nothing to stop you breaking a longer-term fixed rate if you need to. Let's say something incredible happens and rates do fall. Well, then you can remortgage onto a lower rate. There will be early repayment charges, but it can be done.
And there are some quite good. I'm just looking at the moment. There are some quite good fixed rate deals that you can get into, which are it's sort of under 4%. But you've also got to look out for the fact that some of them will charge you quite a high product fee. Others won't charge fees at all. So that's something as well that all needs factoring in.
Yeah, and those fees have actually gone up. I mean, sometimes if you're looking at not a residential property but a buy-to-let. I had one the other day where it was a 3% product fee, which meant that my client was looking at paying £13,500 on the fee alone. So that's something definitely to look into and make sure you know what you're being charged.
Of course, a lot of us are people like me who've got used to those lower rates, but you're also dealing with people that are first-time buyers who are trying to get out of the rental market and into the property market. Are people managing to do that? Because I know there's a lot of young people that are in that rental trap where rent's expensive and all their income goes on rent, so they can't build up that deposit. No, it's a real problem, and rents are increasing as mortgages are costing more. Landlords are having to put up rents to pay their costs, and of course the social housing sector just does not have enough stock to help people. We're finding that a lot of people are moving back home. They're deciding to move back in with mum and dad to save money, come out of their rental, which of course causes all sorts of potential issues. It's not easy to move back home, and it's certainly not easy to have your grown-up children move back with you. Speaking as someone who's university-age children have moved back home. Yes, I've got one of those as well. You think that they've disappeared, and then back come the soggy towels and the eating things from the fridge in the middle of the night and keeping very, very weird hours. Isn't that the thing? It's the snacking at midnight. Yes. I think they've got burglars. You think you've organised your food for the week, and you suddenly find that some unreasonable individual has been down in the middle of the night and ate the lot. Yeah, it's gone. It's gone. But this is the issue, isn't it? I sometimes worry about my kids and how they will, in the long term, actually manage to go anywhere and move out and have their own home. It's a real problem. And I think maybe we will have to have a slight sort of adjustment of our expectations. We are unusual in this country that we expect to own our own homes. There is that drive to purchase, to have your own home. An Englishman's home is his castle, etc. And that's not necessarily the same in other countries. There's a much more laissez-faire attitude to property ownership, and it's quite normal for people to rent their homes for years and years and years, perhaps their whole life, and then just move back into the family home on the death of the parents. That does happen a lot in Europe. So maybe we'll look at the future, and it won't be quite so much of home ownership. There will be an expansion of the rental market. It'll be very interesting to see, because it's getting worse. It's harder to get on the ladder now. It really is. In the meantime, we're going to have to put up with those fridge raids in the middle of the night. Yes. Well, thank you. I quite like it, actually. I have to say, it's quite nice having them home. We love them, really. I think it was lovely to talk to you. Thank you, Sally. Sally Mitchell there. Keep your comments coming. Are you in the midst of this then, sort of your mortgage deal coming to an end and wondering what you're going to do about it? Then please do get in touch with us. You can give us a call on my phone number.
Call 0800 587 1046.
BBC Radio Surrey.
That's